Perfect. Good evening, everyone. I'm John Baker, the superintendent. It is my pleasure to begin the celebration of a remarkable human being. Dennis McBride, who has been a trustee of the Redwood City School District Board of Education for the last 17 years. During this time, he has worked tirelessly to make sure that the education of students is always at the heart of any decisions he has supported. This gentleman will surely be missed by myself and others in this community. At this time, I would like to introduce Janet Lawson, the president of the Redwood City School Board, to begin the celebration of this outstanding human being, Dennis McBride.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's so wonderful to see so many people joining us this evening to celebrate Dennis and all of his years and his work on the school board. At this time, I'd ask you guys to please continue using the chat to share your memories, how you met Dennis, what you worked on together, what you're going to cherish. We're going to save that chat and that with his family for just to look through and see all your kind words. I see that we have Kathleen McBride, Dennis's sister, is here, so welcome. Thanks for being with us. Peter Fortenbaugh would like Dennis to bring back the sideburns, please. Let's see, I'm just reading through the chat here a little bit. Kim Griffin, thank you for being with us too, and all your time working on the healthcare board, and Dennis helping you through that time on the board there too. Naomi Hunter worked together for more than 10 years with Dennis. No matter what was going on, Naomi says, staff always felt appreciated by Dennis. Let's see. Catherine Rivera says, Dennis, we'll miss you, your thoughtful questions on our annual school plans, chatting about our kids, and most of all, the pink box of donuts. That seems to be a running theme here with Dennis. Melissa Doherty, I go way back with Dennis. She said, I was so in over my head, but he took a chance on me, coached me, and changed my life. Dennis McBride is the best, and he brings the best out of you. Thank you, Dennis. Patricia Girardi, thank you. All you did to support Roosevelt. Let's see. Well, we can keep on going with this, but we have a lot of wonderful guests here with us that I think would like to get started. So Lisa, I'm going to hand the ball off to you.
All right. Well, welcome everyone for this wonderful occasion, celebrating Dennis McBride and all his years of service to the community, and especially to the Redwood City School District and all the kids who have resided and gone through the school district. And we have so many people here tonight. We're already at 130 participants, and I know we have more who are planning to join us when they're off work or hopping off a meeting. There's a lot of school board meetings happening tonight in our county, so I know that many of them have sent Dennis regards ahead of time and send their wonderful feelings towards Dennis because he's so well loved in our community. We have a lot of elected officials on the call tonight, and I think what we're going to do is just get started because some of them actually have to hop off to other school board meetings where other people are getting honored. So we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to hear from them. And so sort of our thinking is tonight on the agenda, just to give you a little idea, is we do have some people who have reached out ahead of time who would like to speak. And we're going to start with our honorables and elected officials. And then we'll go to a number of former school board members and mayors and teachers and classified staff. So we have an order of people who got to us who wanted to speak. And then if we all keep our comments, you know, within a minute or two, hopefully we'll be able to hear from more people. So one of the things we'll do is we do have an order and those people should know it. And I'll try to queue people up, maybe 3 at a time. So you can be ready to go. You can unmute yourself, I believe. Is that right, Kyle? I think when the time comes, I think you're able to unmute yourself.
Yes.
Yes, great. And if you could, when you're not speaking, keep yourself muted. So far, people are doing great. So thank you. It's the new world we live in, right? I'm hoping that we'd like to start with, and let me also say that a number of the organizations, the Congress, the state legislature, our city council, our board of supervisors, all have put together resolutions and proclamations and certificates. And Dennis's wife, Lori, has those in the possession. I don't know, Dennis, if you've seen them yet, but you've got a lot of goodies that you'll have an opportunity to look at later.
You can see all the action behind me, and they're racing around trying to find them because they buried them.
That's great. Well, we've got Vanna White and Mr. White back there helping out, I guess, right? That's wonderful. What I'd like to do is go ahead and start with, we have Congresswoman Anna Eshoo, and then we'll hear from Assemblymember Kevin Mullen, Assemblymember Mark Berman, and then Superintendent of Schools Nancy McGee. Ms. Congresswoman Anna Eshoo, is she on the line? I know she's back east representing us in Washington, D.C.
I saw somebody
Hi there.
in the office. Yeah, there we go.
Hi there. I'm sorry. My name's Brandon Robbins. I'm from the office of Congresswoman Eshoo. It looks like Congresswoman Eshoo is not quite yet on our call. I really do apologize for that. I'm sure she'll be joining in mere moments.
Yeah, no worries. Why don't you let us know when she's here, and we'll go ahead and I did see Assemblymember Kevin Mullen is on the call, so maybe Kevin, if you would like to start, and then Mark Berman and Superintendent of Schools Nancy McGee.
Very good, Elisa. Thank you very much for that intro, and wonderful to see all of you, especially wonderful to see Dennis. Pleasure to be with all of you this evening as we honor and recognize somebody truly deserving of those honors, Dennis McBride, for his years of distinguished and dedicated service on the Redwood City School Board. Dennis, during your time on the board, you and your colleagues have had to guide the district through very challenging times, occasional budget shortfalls. You'll recall the implementation of LCFF and school closures, just to name a few. But through it all, you never lost sight of what was most important, and that is the students you and the district have been charged to serve. Your contribution to the education of Redwood City students have been invaluable. It wasn't always easy, but you've made a profound impact on the district and the students that it serves. They are better off for you having served, and I think as an elected official, that's really all you can ask for. In addition to your service with the district, I'd also like you to thank you for being a part of my Education Advisory Committee, which would meet from time to time. Your thoughts and insights were always eye-opening and very much appreciated, and help guide my actions when it comes to education in Sacramento. As you leave the school board and start the next chapter, your presence will be sorely missed, but you leave as a model for other educators to follow. On a very personal note, let me just share that Dennis sent me, just within the last couple of weeks, as a matter of fact, quite literally, the kindest, most thoughtful, and truly meaningful letter to me, which recounted the first time we met in detail, and a number of points that we've shared along the way in public life. I will treasure that note, Dennis, as we will all treasure your time in service of the students and the families in this community. You really are a special human being, Dennis, and I consider myself fortunate to know you. I'll forever be grateful for your friendship and your incredible support, Dennis. Please know that, and how meaningful the connection to you has been to me personally, and my father and my family. With that said, it gives me great pleasure to present you with a parting gift. It's there somewhere. On behalf of myself, Assemblymember Berman, and Senator Hill, and I hope I'm not trumping Assemblymember Berman, but it is a delegation resolution delineating all of the many highlights of your public service, Dennis, in recognition of all that you have done. So thank you again for your service to the students of this community, and I wish you nothing but the best in the future. And we hope you and your wonderful wife, Lori, who I see on the call, enjoy being grandparents. So Godspeed, God bless. Thank you for your service, Dennis.
Thank you very much, Kevin. It's been an honor to be on your education advisory committee.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, Assemblymember Mark Berman.
That is a tough act to follow, but always a pleasure to be on a call with my colleague Assemblymember Mullen, especially one to honor you, Dennis. Of students, that resolution, which I just read over a few minutes ago, is full of a lot of things that you've done, efforts that you've helped. Roles that you've played, students that you've helped, but I really appreciated and was going to emphasize the things that my colleague Assemblymember Mullen did, which is just how good of a person you are, and how you exude goodness and being a gentleman, and the notes that you sent to me, in addition to Assemblymember Mullen, of support of the work that we've done, of encouragement for what we do. Every elected official, I think, in California should look at you as a role model on just how to be kind, and how to be encouraging, and how to be just the perfect public servant. I was talking with my staff earlier today as well, and they said that, I mean, it's not just the elected official that you're kind to, but how helpful you are to our teams, and not everybody necessarily does that. And so your willingness to help everybody, whether it's assembly members or incarcerated youth, or just every student who's gone through the Redwood City School District during your 17 years on the board, we are all so much better off for our experiences and interactions with you. So thank you so much. There are generations of students and parents who are so much better off because of the work that you did. Awesome that you'll now get to go spend more time with your grandkids. So well deserved. But just really wanted to follow up on my colleague, Assemblymember Mullen's points of just thank you so much for all the work that you've done for the decades.
Thank you, Mark. Both you and Kevin have been so supportive of the Redwood City School District, and I'm so appreciative of that. And thank you for the very kind words.
All right, thank you. Superintendent of Schools, Nancy McGee.
Thank you, Trustee McAvoy. It's an honor to be here tonight with, I'm watching these numbers grow, Dennis. We're approaching 155 people on your call, which is pretty amazing. It's really a pleasure to be here to honor you, but I know you maybe perhaps in a different way, have seen your service from a different angle from my role at the County Office of Education. There is no one that I've met in San Mateo County that walks the walk more than you, Dennis. I met you first at the Youth Services Center in a cold, institutional place where young people are incarcerated. And you made it your mission to bring the world to them. You worked tirelessly to find engaging, relevant individuals in the community, particularly around career ideas that could inspire these young people to see themselves in the future being successful and thriving. And when I spoke to you on this one particular day, your belief in their abilities and capacity and potential was so warm and bright that you actually warmed up that entire hall. It was astounding to me, and it was just the beginning. I realized just the beginning of what you were capable of, because it was years and years of bringing speakers into the juvenile hall. And many people may not know that you and Lori worked so hard to find and donate really appropriate and engaging books for the Hillcrest Library. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books you've gathered and donated and carted up that hill into the Hillcrest Library. So again, those students could have that piece of connection to what is possible for their lives. And I will forever be lit up by your actions. You're a comet in the sky of San Mateo County and will continue to shine bright for many years. It's my pleasure to be here. Congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you, Nancy. Those are extremely kind words. Thank you. In fact, one of our speakers at Hillcrest was Assemblymember Mullen, and he just did a fabulous job, and Senator Hill was another one.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much. So next we have San Mateo County Board of Supervisors, Warren Slocum. I'm not sure he's on the call yet. Okay, we have a few phone numbers, which is why I'm just checking that. Okay, so why don't we go, I know that, let's see, it's Dave Pine, Supervisor Dave Pine, are you on?
I am.
Oh, great, you're up.
All right. Dennis McBride, you are a world-class guy. I mean, if there was an Olympics for people, for honorable, gracious, caring people, you would win the gold medal against anybody. You know, you are a world-class guy. I will look back so fondly on our time working together on school issues when we both served on school boards. I think, as I think about it, I remember planning for new school board orientations. And you always had so much wisdom for the new school board members. And I would learn a lot from you, even though I thought I already knew how things worked. So Dennis, your kindness has always touched me. I think, I don't think there's anyone has sent me as many thank you notes as Dennis McBride. And you are just a wonderful human being, and fortunate that you've served our community for these so many years. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Dave. The reason Dave got thank you notes in the Board of Supervisors is they're always doing things for our students and families in North Fair Oaks, and they're making such a difference in those children's lives.
All right. So next we have our San Mateo County Sheriff, Carlos Bolanos.
Thank you very much, neighbor, for allowing me to speak. Good evening. It's truly an honor for me to say a few words tonight about my dear friend, Dennis. You know, I met Dennis professionally in my line of work, but I really can't talk about that since we're just going to talk about good things tonight. You know, when I think of some words about Dennis, the words that come to mind are genuine, such a good, kind-hearted man. You know, we operate in different worlds, and it's so refreshing to meet somebody who's so positive and always looks at the bright side of things. I don't have a resolution for you like some of these other politicians, but I can give you a get out of jail card, and those are worth much more than those resolutions that these other folks are going to give you. You know, we have an outstanding elementary school district in Redwood City. It's because of wonderful trustees like Dennis. I've known Dennis the entire time he's been a trustee. He has always acted in the best interest of the children in our schools. He's been a longtime friend of law enforcement, not just when it's, you know, politically expedient, always, who recognizes that there are many challenges in our educational systems, but safety should not be one of them. He developed those relationships so that when he needed something for the children in our community, all he had to do was pick up the phone and call, and our friendship developed from there. It's really my honor to congratulate you and really give you best wishes to you and Lori on your well-deserved retirement. And thank you for your 17 years of service to our children, to our schools, and our community. And thank you so much for our friendship.
Thank you, Carlos. For a lot of the people on this call, what you don't realize is Carlos used to be the police chief in Redwood City. Now he's the San Mateo County Sheriff. And Carlos was the guy that just took one call. If you called and said you had an issue with parents speeding by a school, the next morning there'd be 3 motorcycle and whites. We had a situation when he was were having to walk out in the active traffic lane. And the very next day, there was 3 San Mateo County Sheriff's officers there fixing it. So thank you so much for all your support and friendship.
Wonderful, thank you. So I believe we have Congresswoman Anna Eshoo on the phone this evening from Washington, D.C. Congresswoman?
I'm here.
Oh, great, you're here,
I'm
yay!
here.
You're Zooming with us. Welcome.
Well, I didn't thank you so much. I'm sorry I didn't make it on Zoom. I tried every which way and it didn't work, but I'm a pretty tenacious person. If it was the last thing I was going to do, I was going to connect with you. And greetings to everyone. And thank you for inviting me to participate tonight to pay tribute to the incomparable, really, Dennis McBride. There's so much that can be said, and I'll mention some of the things, but I can't help but think of the beautiful title that he has borne, trustee. What does that word mean? We entrusted the most precious thing to him, our children. And I think that Dennis has really set the gold standard for being a trustee. He has given all of himself in every way imaginable. He's been a major advocate for the school parcel taxes and the local bond measures, not just signing his name to it, but really going out to the community to make sure that it would pass so that the facilities could be modernized, so that there would be new gyms and libraries and classrooms. So that when these children enter the building, they know that they're special. They know that they're special. He has organized motivational speakers to meet with incarcerated students at Hillcrest to teach them about professions that they could aspire to. He has overseen the college scholarship program for the Sequoia Awards, and that community service is just golden. So for the over 25,000 students that have so benefited from Dennis, his vision, his heart, his mind, he has given all of himself. And, for that, Dennis, really none of us can thank you enough. We're celebrating you and your magnificent public service. I always say that when we build strong communities, we strengthen our country. You have done both. You have done both with your magnificent 17 years of service on the Redwood City School District Board. So on behalf of all of the people of our magnificent congressional district, I thank you. And I think that God will continue blessing you because you have been such a blessing to the children, to the families, to the entire community. So thank you, everyone, for putting this together. And I feel very special being a part of it to celebrate Dennis and his extraordinary time of service. 17 years, imagine that. That's like giving birth to a baby and raising a child. And so Dennis, bravo. You are a friend of friends, and you're, as I said in my first sentence, I think your public service, you have set the gold standard for trustee. So God bless you.
Thank you, Congresswoman Eshoo. For most of the people in the audience, they don't know, the first time I met her is I was escorting her in to a town hall meeting with just elected President Bill Clinton. And I was sitting on the aisle with her, And I was just thrilled out of my mind. I was sitting with a former San Mateo County supervisor and now a sitting congresswoman. And she says, "Oh, you want to meet Bill?" And I said, "No, I'm totally fine with you." And he's walking down the aisle and she pulls him over and she goes, Bill, come here. This is the guy that worked with the Secret Service for the last 5 days at Silicon Graphics. And then he went on to give his speech. And then she grabbed me and said, "Let's go up and you can talk to him." And I'm like, no, I don't need to. So I had like 3 minutes alone with the President of the United States, thanks to Anna.
Well, he was very fortunate to meet you. He was the one that was fortunate to meet you.
But seriously,
Thank you again, Dennis.
Well, yeah, let me just give one more comment for you. A lot of people would say, "Oh, you'll never get Congressman Ashu's endorsement for this or that." And I would always say, no, if you go to her and you have your facts and you talk about the kids, you'll get it. And there was not a single time that you didn't readily endorse all of our measures, whether it was a parcel tax or construction bonds. So thank you for all of our students. It was a really big help.
Well, we need to be together as a team for them. The children can't vote, but we can, with our work, we can lift them up. So you're magnificent, Dennis. And another thought about the word trustee, I knew that I was placing my trust in the right person. You've never disappointed any of us, not once.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. I know it means
absolutely.
a lot to all of us.
Too. Thank you.
Bless and I wanted to mention, that Dennis has a beautiful certificate and a personal letter from the Congresswoman, and also a congressional record from Congresswoman Jackie Spear. And that's another thing that you've got there, Dennis, that you'll have to read. And it talks about him being the Energizer Bunny, which I love. So thank you very much for joining us this evening from Washington, D.C. And thank you for representing us.
Thank you for inviting me, everyone. And have a beautiful Christmas, Hanukkah, wherever your faith is, may it strengthen you, your families, and be a blessing to all. Our country is in a sad place right now, but we're going to come through this. We have to stay united, and we're going to come through this. Thank God, where the vaccines are coming, and but we have to follow what the scientists are telling us to do. And it's hard for people. People are going through a great deal right now. So we will come through this. We'll come through it together. So bless all of you for what you do, and for putting this together for Dennis. We all know that he deserves it. So thank you again. It's very special for me to be with you.
Thank you. All right, next up we have Redwood City Mayor Diane Howard.
Thank you very much, Elisa. Dennis, I am truly honored to be able to present you with a proclamation from our City Council, many of whom are on the call right now. And it's a proclamation honoring your 17 years of service on the school board, but it also is honoring your decades worth of passion and dedication to not only the children, but the parents and the citizens and residents of Redwood City. You are an ambassador for our community. You may remember I asked you once, would you please run for city council? And it was the first time I learned that you live in Redwood City, unincorporated, and I was so disappointed. You had to tell me that. You burst my bubble. But I wanted to thank you. It's been an honor to know you and to be your friend. You are one of the most positive, awesome human beings I have ever met in my life. And I consider myself a positive person. And when I'm with you, it just elevates me even more. And Anna is right. With people like yourself, we are going to get through this. 2020 is going to be something we say, yeah, it was a bump in the road, but we're on our way back. And it's because of people like you, because you walk and you have a smile, an inner smile about you. Your body just radiates positiveness and happiness. I wanted to thank you for that. Never did a day go by when you and I would get together that you wouldn't talk about your beautiful wife, Lori, and your children and your grandchildren. Love of people, your love of our community. Don't ever lose it. Stay as awesome as you always are and be even more awesome in the years to come. Thank you, Dennis, for speaking today.
Thank you, Diane. It's been a real honor to know you and work with you and be your friend. And I love the fact that we're on the Sequoia Awards together, so I continue to see you. And I really would like to thank the City Council for this. It's very nice, but I'd also like to say the City Council has really been a great partner with the Redwood City School District and done many wonderful things that have supported us, and we really appreciate.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have an amazing individual who is a friend to education for sure. Let's see, he started as a school board member, then Board of Supervisors, then a Board of Supervisors. Can you guess who it is? You're up.
Thanks, Alicia. Hi, it's Joe Simidian, and hey, Dennis, good to see you, pal. And let me just say first, I got this note saying if you'd like to spend less than 2 minutes celebrating Dennis's 17 years of public service, please join us. And I thought, well, great, that's 7 seconds a year in the way of tribute. So I don't know quite how we're going to make that work. But here's the thing. Dennis knows the very first time we talked, I told him, look, I've been in these various roles, and the thing I know is there is no tougher job in elected officialdom than being a local school board member. And I remember at the time he said, oh, you're just saying that, you're being polite. And I said, no, no, no. As Congresswoman Eshoo said, when you've got responsibility for the thing that is most dear and most precious to the people you represent, which is their children, there isn't a tougher job, particularly with all of the constraints, restraints, lack of funding, and all of that. And the thing I would say about Dennis is everywhere he first came up to lobby me to make sure that my colleagues and I did the right thing, or whether it was at the district headquarters or one of our education updates that I used to hold. And by the way, Hema Mohan, former district director, is on the call and sends her love as well. Wherever I went, there you were doing the good work. And while everyone's talked about it's true, Dennis, here's what I want to share, and it's a very serious note. Dennis knows that he and I had the chance to sit down some years back and talk about whether or not he was going to up for yet another term on the school board. And he was uncertain, ambivalent. And what I told him, which is sort of, you know, runs through comments tonight, Dennis, is, you know, there's a short of people who want to do this work. We don't have, quote, too many people stepping up to serve in this way. And if you think you've got something to offer, then offer it. And if the community thinks that it has value, they will let you know. And you did, and they have. And for that, it's really been my honor and my privilege to work with you, to call you a friend and an ally and a partner over the years. 17 years seems to me like it was just 5 minutes ago. Enjoy whatever the next chapter holds for you and Lori and the family. This is someone, everyone, who really understands the service in public service. Thanks.
Thank you, Joe. You're not giving yourself enough credit. This was a situation where we were just getting pummeled and beaten, and I just didn't know if I could do it anymore. And Joe was down in Santa Clara County as a supervisor, and his top priority was to get homeless housing, and they were trying to work a deal with a mobile home park. And his secretary said, unless you're the governor or you're the president, you can't get in. And when I was talking to Joe, he said, I will get you in. And literally 2 days later, this was a conversation we had on a Saturday. On Monday, he basically said, I'm available at 2 o'clock and you've got to come and you've got to meet with me. And it was just a marvelous conversation. And what it really did is it re-energized me. So I owe you a lot, Joe.
Thank you, Dennis.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so next I believe Janet Lawson is going to share a few photos and then we'll go back to some more comments after that, but let's some photos.
So these are, you guys have seen sort of the, can you see, oh, here we go. You've seen the proclamations that Dennis and Lori have been holding up, but we just wanted to show you kind of a bigger picture of what we have for him here today. How come I can't advance the slide? There we go. Sorry, I think this hasn't been presented yet, so you'll see this later, Dennis. But we have the proclamation, the congresswomen. This is from Kevin Mullen, Jerry Hill, and Mark Berman. We have more resolutions. But I do want to share with everybody who's here that Lori has put together this Kudo board where you can add your own thoughts and memories and pictures. I just took a quick screen grab. So we'd invite you to add your thoughts there as well. I'm going to go ahead and in the chat, I will post this link so that you can access it easily from your computer. And then we also have the slideshow that we saw before we started at 5:30. There's actually a fuller video with, it's actually 18 minutes long. Thank you to Kathy James for putting this together. I will share the link also so that after this, anybody who wants to can go ahead and take a look at the full video. So with that, Elisa, we can go back to more of our comments.
All right. Thank you very much. So we are on to Honorable Shelley Mazer.
Thank you, Elisa. Dennis, where did you go? You were in my screen. Oh, there you are. I've been watching your face this whole time, and I was thinking to myself, one of the words I always think about for you is humble. And it must be torture for you sitting and having to listen to all of us laud you and tell you how great you are. But sorry, that's what happens when you retire after 17 years on the school board. So I'll just say a couple of quick things. You know, the first word that comes to mind when I think about you is thoughtful. And you know this because we were texting about this a few weeks ago. I would never have really even been on the school board if it hadn't been for Dennis, because he's so always thinking about other people that when I applied to join the board, he reached out because I had a little detail that I hadn't fixed yet. And Dennis reminded me of things that I needed to do to be able to serve Redwood City. And so I'll always be grateful to you for thinking. You also have always kept track of my kids and my family. You always ask first how my kids are doing. And that is just what your orientation is. You're committed. We've worked together. I mean, Joe talked about it and other people have alluded to it. We've worked together on some really tough issues and we had some really difficult times as school board members together, but you never gave up and you never have given up on anything that benefits kids. And it's such a good lesson for all of us that even when the work is hard, it's important. I talked about it a minute ago, you're detail oriented. I super appreciated that about you when I was on the board with you, because I always knew if there was a detail that I missed or a question that I hadn't asked, you would ask it, and you always had my back and made sure that we had all the information we needed to make the best decision that we could. You also, in that detail, I think everybody's heard it tonight. Every person he talks, he can be like, well, people don't know this. Always turns the story around to be about the person who is speaking. And it's such a great skill to have. And you're super kid-centered. I mean, there's not a thing that a kid needs that you wouldn't do for them. People have talked about all the different things that you've done. I don't think there's any way to enumerate the number of kids and families' lives who you've touched over your life, but really in the last 17 years. From Boys and Girls Club to the school district, to the work you've done in juvenile hall, to the Sequoia Awards, the number of kids who got to go to college and had that extra amount of money because you worked so hard on the Sequoia Awards. It's a huge impact you've made on kids' lives. And I will I'm grateful for our kids, and I'm grateful that I got to know you and be a friend of yours. So thank you, Dennis, for everything.
Thank you, Shelley. I really enjoyed my 10 years on the school board with you, and we did have some really incredible things we had to deal with, and it was great having a team where everybody was lined up and we all had a common goal and the same mission. And then the last 5 years of you being on the city council, you've been a big supporter of the schools. We've gone to you and asked you for things. You've helped us behind the scenes to negotiate things, and I can't say enough about you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, next we have Honorable Margaret Marshall, former Redwood City School Board member. I saw Margaret on here. Let's see if she's still on here. Margaret, you may have to unmute yourself.
Here we go. Okay, there we are. Dennis, thank you for all your years of service. I particularly appreciate the many times you served as treasurer for school and parcel and bond measure. 2 years since I left the school board. And I just want to reassure you that there is a life after school board service, and there are many things that you can do. So give me a call. We'll take a hike up in Edgewood and we can talk about some of the choices you might have. Thanks, Dennis.
So Margaret, it's so great to have you on this call because you're one of the school board members I always looked up to. And there were many a time I would think, how would Pat Brown or how would Margaret Marshall do it? And I really appreciated when we were doing parcel taxes or bonds, how you had neighbors that weren't sure they wanted to sign up. And so you'd have me come over to your house and you'd have like a 3-page single-spaced list of all the questions they had. I'm sure you remember that. And I probably answered half and had to go get the answer for the other half. But you've always, you just did a wonderful job as a school board member. And then you just always been just such a fan of the school district and such a wonderful human being. So it's just really thrilling to have you here.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you. And I did want to mention that we do have Pat Brown on the call as well. I saw her. I know there's so many participants, Dennis. I wanted to make sure you knew she was here as well. So thanks for being here. I know I met the two of you together, so I always think of you as a team. So thank you. All right. Next we have Honorable Hillary Paulson, former Redwood City School Board member.
So good evening. Hello, Dennis. So everybody knows that Dennis is absolutely dedicated to the kids. So I would like to tell you a very quick story about how dedicated Dennis is. So as a school board member, you do a lot of tough things. You work with finances, you deal with pink slips, you do expulsions, but there's also wonderful things you get to do, and you get to go out and meet with the kids. And I really feel for the current school board members who can't be in the classroom right now, seeing what they're doing. So, and one of those very fun things is the junior chef competition. So Dennis is laughing, so he remembers. So Dennis and I went to this competition, and the subject was healthy after school snacks. And so we walked in, and the chefs, they're 5-year-old kindergartners all the way up to the 8th graders, and they're decked out in the chef jackets, and they have hats, and they're so nervous, but in a way they're also so confident, and they want to tell you about their project. And I looked over, and everything had cream cheese in it. And I don't eat cream cheese. I think it's one of the most horrible things in the whole world. And so I reached over to Dennis and I pulled on his arm and I'm like, Dennis, you have to eat that for me. And Dennis says, I don't eat cream cheese. So Dennis and I sat there all afternoon and ate every single piece of cream cheese snack and told the kids how wonderful they were. And I haven't eaten cream cheese since. And that is just Dennis, because he ate that cream cheese celery with little raisins on it. And he told those kids they were wonderful. And they absolutely knew that was 100% the truth, and that they were doing a great thing that afternoon, and they were going to go on to do just wonderful, great things. So that's my story about Dennis that I wanted to share with you. So congratulations, Dennis. And Yes, there is life after being a school board member, but I will tell you those first couple months feel really strange without the meetings and without the kids.
Thank you, Hillary. For those that don't know, Hillary was on the board for 10 years and came off 2 years ago. And she was great. She was amazing. She was this quiet person that was like a Cray computer in terms of solving things. And what other thing I'd have to admit is anytime we did a parcel tax or a bond, Hillary would take over a key piece, and she would work, like I'd go over her house at say 8 in the morning to work on the maps that we would give to people, to precinct maps to walk the precincts. And I would leave at like noon, and I'd come back at 5 and she hadn't moved. And then Saturday, you know, we finished like half by the time I left. And the next morning they were all done, and that was all Hillary. And Hillary, when we would phone bank, she was there every single night from 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock at night. And then she would take the data and she would put it in the computer. So the next day the people walking would have current data. So Hillary was like the most awesome school board member ever. So it's really great to see you, Hillary. Oh, and yeah, there was more than one thing I had to gulp down that I wouldn't even like. And Lori cooked it, you know, I just throw it in the garbage can and keep moving. But the chef thing was just amazing. Sodexo did this thing where they brought in probably like 10 kids, and they gave them a menu and they got to make it. And they were just so excited and so enthusiastic. And the excitement just filled you with joy and happiness. And you'd come home thinking, being a school board member is the coolest thing in the world, because if you weren't a school board member, A, you wouldn't know about it, and B, they'd probably kick you out. But yeah, but Sodexo did a great job.
All right, thank you. I do see we have Supervisor Warren Slocum on now. Would you like to say a few words? We had called you earlier, but I think you were busy with something else, and now you're on. Welcome.
Well, I would like to say a few words, and I wish I had been busy earlier. I was just having technical difficulties logging in, and fortunately, Maria came home and saved the day, and she got me logged in and got me all squared away. And so I appreciate Maria's efforts aimed at getting me in the meeting. So Dennis, supervisors, and that you've read those words on there, but let me offer up a couple of personal comments. You know, I remember when I was retired, actually, from being the county assessor, clerk recorder, and elections guy. And Dennis, as everybody knows, is an avid reader, and I live next to the Shaberg Library in Redwood City. Dennis is an avid reader, and he'd always be coming over to the library to get his reading materials. And one day, while I was retired, I think I was in the front yard, and Dennis was coming to get his books, and we stopped and chatted on the sidewalk, and we talked about the open seat on the Board of Supervisors. And I don't know if Dennis remembers this, but he actually encouraged me to think seriously about running. And at the time I thought, oh, that's nice, thank you, Dennis. But later on, after reflecting about it, a man of his stature and his caliber and his professionalism, in effect, was saying to me, hey, why don't you seriously think about this? It meant a lot to me because of who Dennis is. As we all know, he's a CPA. He's a very accomplished gentleman. And I really thought long and hard about what he had to say. One of his colleagues also had talked to me. And so that basically changed the course of my life. That conversation changed the course of my life, because I eventually did decide to run for the Board of Supervisors. And frankly, it's the best job I've ever had. So I owe Dennis a deep, much of gratitude. The one thing I know about Dennis, actually I know several things about Dennis, but he would visit every school every year, and he tried to get to every classroom. And what that says about him is his total dedication to the young people, to the students of the Redwood City School District, of which there are about 25,000, I think. And, you know, he was everywhere. Every place you'd go, Dennis was there. His volunteer work is incredible. And one of the things that really stands out for me, of course, I mentioned he's a CPA, and in all those bond measures that the Redwood City School District was able to pass, Dennis took care of the campaign reporting, which is no easy task. He took care of the finances, and I happen to believe that every penny, I mean every penny, was accounted for. So Dennis, the community owes you a deep bit of gratitude. Lori, I'm not sure what you're going to do with him, but hopefully he'll find his way, as I did in retirement, and then maybe run for something else as I did. I don't know what his plans are, but you know, Dennis always put the kids first. And I think he's the very best example of what it means to be a local school board member. Dennis, congratulations on your many years of service to the Redwood City School District. I know you'll be missed. And on a personal note, let me just thank you for everything you've done for my wife, Maria, who's also on the school board. You've mentored her, and I think showed her the way of what it means to be a school board member. So just a deep sense of gratitude that I wish to convey to you. Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you, Warren, for the very kind words. One of the highlights of my life was going to your retirement party and here. And so I'm just thrilled that you're advisors, and you're doing a great job. And again, as I said to Dave Pine, we really appreciate all the money and support you're giving to our most vulnerable students. Do it. It's making a huge difference in those students and families' lives.
Thank you, Dennis.
I have Lori whispering in my ear. Thanks for the plaque.
Thanks, Lori. Good job holding that plaque up. It looks good. Thanks, Dennis. Best to you.
All right, thank you. And next we have teacher and awesomeness, Miss Ann Barriafa.
Great, thank you. Hi, everybody. Dennis. I didn't know I'd be the first teacher, but yay. Okay, so not only are you a pillar of our community, but you are a shining star in our district. You're going to be remembered by all of us, of course, for your donuts. Yeah, that's a given, which I had to stop eating because, you know, it was too much. But also for your thank you notes. And I still have all of the thank you notes you've written me. These together, they mean a lot. They're in my keeper file, and when I have a tough day, I open it up and there it is. It's like, you know what, that's my little oomph from you, so thank you. But I want to say, Dennis, that you, for me, are going to be remembered as an extraordinary leader. And you're an extraordinary leader because you lead not only from your brilliant mind, which has done a lot of problem solving over the years, but you lead from your heart. And a leader who can balance leading from your mind and your heart is truly an extraordinary leader. And you've done that in our district over the years. And I've been witness to it. I've been a partner to it when I've been on committees with you and whatnot. And I just have to say, you're a role model to me, you know, and I consider myself somewhat of a leader, you know, in what I do here and in other communities that I work in. And you're the kind of leader that I would like to be, leading with my head and my heart. So I want you to know that you're going to be remembered by all of us for all the wonderful things you've done. And we're going to miss you, but your essence, the essence of your leadership, will be with our district forever. And we thank you. So.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you so much. And thank you for all you've done for the teachers in professional development. You're a rock star.
Well, thank you. Well, you are.
All right, thank you. We have one more honorable who would like to speak. We have Ian Bain, former mayor and former city council member as of just Monday night, I believe. So welcome, Ian.
Yep, fresh off my retirement. Dennis, I can tell you it's great to have your inbox all of a sudden free up. So I'll just be brief. I know we're running behind schedule, but I want to say, you know, so there was one time I called Dennis when I was mayor and there was an issue that was kind of blowing up involving the schools that I won't get into right now. But I said, you know, Dennis, what can I do to help you? You know, because we really do have that partnership that Dennis talked about, that Mayor Howard talked about. And he said, Ian, the best thing you can do is just stand down, let me handle it. We're going to get through it. And, Dennis is one of these leaders who is a blend of not only great analytical skills, but also great compassion. And he was able to work with a lot of really upset parents on many issues. And I just watched him be very, very skillful at that and navigating some things that were very tough, as has been discussed. But, the thing that really impresses me about Dennis is, even though he's clearly impressed a lot of important people who've spoken already, he's someone who treats everybody with equal respect and importance. And my friend Frances said to tell Dennis thank you. She has a special needs son, and she was looking for the right school for him. And I suggested that she reach out to Dennis, and he called her back, and now her son is thriving at Roosevelt. And so I just wanted to pass that along and say thank you on her behalf, and really thank you for all the students and parents of Redwood City.
Thank you, Ian. I don't want to be on the school board if you're not on the city council, so it all worked out well.
Your timing's good.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, next we have another one of our wonderful teachers at Hoover School with our little ones. Ms. Hernandez, you're up. You may need to unmute yourself.
Oh, hi. Oh, hi, Dennis. It's an honor that you have been in our life. We are very, very happy. Every time that you walk in our classroom, like the sun was shining there, your smile, all the kids hugging you, it was amazing because he's a magnet to the little kids. So everybody, he's so tall, and they grab him from the legs and everything. He went all the way down to the level of the children to greet them, to be with them, to color with them. I'm very honored that we have met you. It's not just a president of the board or part of the board. You became a friend to all of us. And my family and me, we are very grateful. My brother, he honored that my family were always volunteering in the school, and I'm very, very thankful to you because you always inspire the little ones. You inspire the teachers to be more, not to stay in one line, to go ahead and be more. And I'm thankful to Lori. You always mention your family, and behind you is Lori. Lori, thank you so much for sharing Dennis with us. Thank you so much. And I see that you have a lot of walls behind you. There's something coming from the CDC, Hoover CDC, from my family that we prepare for you. So get ready, okay? Because I will pass by and drop it there tomorrow. Thank you so much, Dennis. You're a remarkable man. Thank you.
Thank you, Indra. Indra's mom and dad and brother spend hundreds of hours a week at the Hoover Preschool helping Indra. And that was like, I shouldn't say this, but it truly was one of my favorite classrooms because I'd walk in and there was this one girl one year, because I was in there like 3 times, and she would just drop what she's doing and fly over. And I'd get down low and she'd put her arms around me and she goes, "I love you." Now, you totally owned me at that point, right? And I'd say, "What do you want to do?" And she'd say color, and we'd go color. But every one of those kids was so engaged, and Indra worked so hard. And and Lori would say to me, "Well, why do you go visit schools on a Thursday after a school board meeting that ends at 10 or 11? And I said, "Because that's where I get to fill my battery up." I've had people yelling at me, and now today I get to fill the battery up. And your class was absolutely one of them. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you very much. All right, we have another one of our wonderful teachers, Miss Michelle Butler, who is next in line to speak.
Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me speak. I am wearing a shirt which you can't see because it's Zoom, but it says, "Every child deserves a champion." And that's what I think of Trustee McBride or Dennis McBride. he has been such a champion to my students and such a great leader, because by being a champion to my students, then when tough things came down from the district, and I've worked 20 years, and so I've been through some of these troubled times with our school board, I knew that he truly cared about them, and that made a difference. If you're not going to get a raise, but the person cares and is right there with your children and doing everything for them, he's just a true leader. And he's a very important person. And Dennis, you're not off the hook. I don't know about this year, but starting next year when we do our very important person presentations, you are still invited, and I don't know if I can have them without you. So can I just end with my poem, because this is a dorky poem, but I wrote it because a 4th grade teacher told me to keep writing poems, and that's how I see Trustee McBride, as one of those people that says, listen to your teachers and someday use that talent. So I'm gonna read it. Digging up potatoes and eating them fried, scooping up seeds from pumpkin insides, for and clapping at ends of Thanksgiving plays, coming to hero presentations every year, asking questions, sharing stories so dear, taking pictures, making memories for many a Coover Fest, seeing dreams and wings open as children tried their best. It's not every person who is this you leave a legacy of who a leader can be. Thank you.
So I will tell you that was one of the coolest experiences, being in your classroom and seeing your children start out at like 1st grade and year after year after year come back and do their public speaking. And some of them had grown so much that I thought, what a gift you have given them, that they're going to go on and be adults and they're going to be able to get up in front of people and speak. And your kids were just precious. They were just wonderful. Some of them were just scared to death, and they got up there and you encouraged them and they did a wonderful job. So that was actually, that was not a hard thing to do. That was something to look forward to. And absolutely, I know where to get a visitor's badge.
All right, thank you. Okay, next we have Naomi Hunter, former Redwood City School Board, school staff member, our communications director. Welcome.
Thank you so much. So as Elisa said, I worked with Dennis for more than 10 years when I served as Director of Communications. And as others have alluded, we went through some pretty tough times together, also some really happy times together. Many on this call have talked about just how much Dennis has accomplished for our students in our community over the last 17 years. But what many people may not know is just how much time and effort that Dennis invested behind the scenes. And I know this because I was a witness with a front row seat. In fact, I asked Lori today, I said, do you think Dennis spent like 20 to 30 hours a week as a school board trustee? And she wrote back and said, no, it was probably more like 40 to 50 hours a week. And I just did some quick math. That's about 34,000 hours over the last 17 years. So my office was just past the staircase and the hallway that led to the superintendent's office. And I don't think anyone walked past my door more often than Dennis. He was always coming in for briefings, to ask questions about a proposed policy, or to review the district's budget. And of course, that doesn't account for all the phone calls, emails, coffee shop meetings, and conversations in the aisle of the grocery store, or while he was out walking his dog. And I know that that happened a lot. So Dennis would often stop by my office to share something that he learned from a community member. And it was my job to make sure that we provided the community with the information they needed. Well, you can't know what to communicate unless you understand how the community feels or understands. And Dennis knew that, and he was always interested in sharing the perspective of constituents with me. And the conversation would usually start with something like, I ran into a parent last week and they think, and sometimes the feedback was negative and sometimes it was hard to hear, but it really did help us to communicate better. And the way that Dennis listens, I know it not only helped me, but it helped Dennis and the trustees make better decisions. So, you know, there's really not enough time to say everything that I want to say, but I want to close by talking about what I think is the most important thing that Dennis brought to his job, and that is his heart. And many have spoken about that. You know, Dennis is a CPA, and as you would expect, he's really meticulous and detail-oriented. In fact, just to tease a little bit, I always knew that anything of mine that Dennis reviewed would never go out with a typo or a misplaced comma, because he was so careful. And his business skills were incredibly valuable to the district, but I would say his compassion was even more valuable. You know, he cares so much for our students. And when students would come to present to the board, he would just beam. I think I will always be able to see your face, Dennis, when a child was speaking at a board meeting. And, you know, when Dennis is moved, he's not afraid to show it. And when he has to make an unavoidable budget cut, I would often hear his voice break when he explained his concern about the impact. So, you know, Dennis really is a man who put all of himself into his work. Dennis, you are such a gem, and we owe you such a huge debt of gratitude for all the contributions you've made that are going to last for many decades past your service. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart on behalf of the Redwood City community.
Thank you, Naomi. You kind of got me with that one. I'm kind of be emotional here. Thank you. Thank you to you and Rick as well. You guys have been there all the time for our parcel taxes and our bonds, and you phone banked like crazy, and you also had a positive attitude, and you were an amazing person at the district office. You know, you actually saved me many times. In fact, I think people think I'm smarter than I am because you would rewrite things that I wrote. And so thank you for all you did for the students in the school district.
Thank you. All right, next we have Miss Maria Stockton, who I like to think of as the queen of the classified. So I'm so happy, Maria, that you can be here tonight to say something for Dennis.
Well, thank you, Alicia. And thank you, Dennis. I think this is the first time I've seen your beautiful wife, and what a fantastic smile she has. So Dennis, what could I say that hasn't been said already? Dennis, you are a board member with an old soul. You have just beauty in your soul that goes back to compassion and love for everyone. And although your duty on the school board is, you know, it was to keep it within budget, best policies and fair practices and all the rest, but you had to make many difficult decisions which pulled at your heart. We could see it in your face, in your eyes, as you spoke with passion and concern, not only for the children and the families of our school district, but with great care for our staff, not only the teachers, but also the classified staff. And we truly thank you for recognizing our efforts. Not all people remember and recognize the classified support staff and the important service the district and everyone, but you made it a point to always do that. And from 50 classified I represent, we truly thank you for that. So many classified speak of the appreciation and the respect that they felt when you came to visit our sites. You not only went to the office, but you sought out the members in food service, custodians, office, everyone, and you asked us how we were and how were things going. And I know when something of concern was mentioned to you, you didn't just pass it on, but you looked into it, and it wasn't long after saying that proper action was being taken. Oh, sorry about that. We have appreciated all your visits, your gifts, your cards, and your smiling face, and we truly, truly will miss it. So far, and good luck to everything you will in the future. Be well, continue to do good, and please keep in touch. God bless, Dennis.
Wow, thank you, Maria. So I have one last favor. I sent you an email last night,
Yes.
Will you be able to distribute that to your members?
I certainly will do that.
Words.
Always my pleasure, Dennis. Thank you.
It doesn't matter where you go in the district. Everybody, custodian's been working 8 hours, or it's 8 in the morning. And so it's just a wonderful, wonderful group of people. Thank you. And so I'll just tell you, Hillary always makes a bet with Maria, and they always have this bet of, they call me Mr. Marshmallow. They said this is tough finance guy, but he's really Mr. Marshmallow. So let's see how long into the meeting he can get before he tears up. Well, I wonder who won the bet.
All right, thank you. All right, we have our
evening, everyone. Hi, Lori, Dennis. Thank you, Trustee McBride. You've done so much for our district, our kids, our families, and our entire staff. You are such an incredible advocate for children and education. As a teacher, I feel so grateful to have had you at our helm all these years. As you've heard, you're an admired leader and an admired person. In watching you, as I know we all are, have been inspired to try to be more level-headed, to try to be kinder and more compassionate. With an ability to hear a message and see the important part of a picture through any delivery is astounding. You have a sharp mind, you are an incredible wealth of knowledge, and you have a memory like a steel trap. You are able to clarify mistakes, ask questions, and redirect with respect, honesty, and sincerity. You, Dennis, are truly who has worked tirelessly, not just for one student nor one school, but for every student at all the schools, for an entire district for many, many years. What an impact you have made. You have changed lives. You have served us, an entire district, the whole staff, the families, the community, the members, the children, so well. To say you and your colleagues, our leaders, have steered our ship through some rough waters is a bit of an understatement. We have weathered some tough storms. We'll weather this one. But you not only kept us afloat, you kept us moving forward. And Dennis, you did it all with integrity, grace, and compassion. On behalf of so many of us who have had the privilege of your leadership, Trustee Dennis McBride, we say thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. For those of you that don't know Shannon, you really have to go to her class at Clifford and see her. She was the 2011 San Mateo County Teacher of the Year. And I've told people, I always preface it, I'm not going to do it, but I think you could add another 20 students to her class that are the most behind. And within probably a month, you couldn't tell who's who. And she just represents so many of the teachers as you go classroom to classroom that have that same ability. Thank you for the very kind words.
All right, so thanks everybody for hanging in there. We're still here. This is awesome. Wish we had about 3 more hours. I did want to let everyone know we have one more speaker who had signed up ahead of time. And then the board members, we didn't get a chance to say what we'd like to say. So I think we will carry that over into our 7 o'clock board meeting. But we'll hear our one more speaker from outside, and then we're going to let Dennis say just a few words before we wrap things up. So Dr. Joel Herrera, please, you're next.
Thank you so much. Hi, Dennis. Yes, well, I go back to the mid-90s with Dennis when he found our high school accounting program in Overfelt High School on the east side of San Jose. And we were so lucky that Dennis and his finance team at SGI, he said, Dennis said to me, I want to adopt your program. He found us. And the idea was to diversify the accounting world. Well, you know what? We had some wonderful students that went into different areas of accounting. I see one of the, Dennis, I see your mentee on the screen earlier. Dennis picked, I assigned someone named James Barajas, being raised by a single mom. And guess what? You know what? and he became a CPA in his own right. Thank you, Dennis, for the love and the kindness and the compassion that you shared with my students at Overfelt High School in Eastside San Jose. You just transformed our program, and I'm just, like we say in Spanish, muchísimas gracias, and also lo felicito. We congratulate you, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. James is on the call tonight, and he sees you. James Barajas.
Wow, Joel, this is such a treat. I have so much admiration for you. We started with these 18 students when they were sophomores in high school, and they would be the first student to graduate from high school ever. And I didn't think in Silicon Valley that existed. You know, I was pretty naive. And we gave each student a mentor, and I was lucky enough to have James. And we had 5 students that would have dropped out over the 3 years if we didn't have the mentors, and all 18 got through high school. And James was one of the ones that was going to drop out. And I went to the graduation of those kids, and I was probably just this much less proud of them than my kids, maybe even more in some ways because they'd overcome so much. And you actually shortchanged James. He actually got a bachelor's degree. He got 2 master's degrees.
2 masters, yes.
Yeah. And we're still in touch. And so that's been over, that's like 22 years. Hopefully James won't talk, but there was a time where we had lunch and he wanted advice about getting married. and I'm like, whoa, dude, I do career coaching. How do you get married? So I asked him a couple of questions and he answered them, and he's now married. So, but James is just an awesome human being. And every time I interact with him, I just think he's done so well and is so successful, and I'm so proud of him. But a lot of that's due to you, Joel. You were the driver of that.
Well, you were our champion, and thank you, Lori. Thank you so much.
And I see that in the chat, we see Patty Holiday. She said that over a dozen of the former SGI finance team are on the call and participate. So way back when Dennis was making a difference all the way to the present, and we know he recently joined the Boys and Girls Club board, so we'll still be seeing you. Anyway, you know, we actually have a 7 o'clock board meeting. It's 6:47, but Dennis, we wanted to give you just a couple of minutes to say a few words to everybody. I know you've had a chance to talk as we went through it, but
you're talking.
Take it away.
Thank you. Lori's talking, so I don't know what you said.
Can I just say something really quick? I have things here that Elisa dropped off. The first one, remind me who.
Oh yeah, the donuts are from all the staff in Redwood City because you're always bringing all the staff donuts.
And then I have the gift bag and the gift box. Did you want him to open this in front of everybody?
I think we can. I think we have limited time, so why don't we? Yeah, okay. He can do it later. Thank you.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yes.
So I want you all to know that Lori drives this school bus.
Well, Lisa told me.
All right.
Thank you, Lori. Lori, you were a great team member in all of this. So she was behind the scenes doing all sorts of things, Dennis, when you didn't know.
All right. So is that me?
He was the
driver. And Polly, can you mute, please? Thanks.
Okay. So I wrote something, and I only wrote it because I knew that this was going to so blow me away that if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to say anything cogent. So I'm going to add something, and it's, wow, I am blown away and in awe of what everyone has done. I'm extremely humbled by tonight. All I did was my job. I don't think I'm going to make it through this. I'd like to thank Janet Lawson, board president, Elisa McAvoy, vice president, Dr. Baker, the superintendent, Wendy Kelly, the assistant superintendent, Kathy James, the technology resource teacher, Kyle Brumbaugh, director of technology and innovation, Jorge Quintana, director of communications and community and parent involvement, and my amazing wife, Lori, for thinking up the managing Kudo board. And all those people mentioned were responsible for tonight and everything they did. So this isn't going to be 17 years of day by day, but you know, so how do you get on the school board? Well, you work 10 months campaigning, raising money, getting endorsements, and your eye is on the prize to get elected. And you don't really know what you kind of think what you know, but you really don't. So I spent 2 years in the back of the room, and I'd come home very frustrated and say, I don't know why these guys take so long. It's so obvious. I could make that decision in 15 minutes. Well, I get on the school board and I realized why it was so simple. All I had to worry about was Corey and Casey McBride, not 9,000 kids with a wide range of learning abilities. So then on election night on November 4th, 2003, after everyone quit congratulating me, I went outside and had almost a spiritual moment. It was, wow, the community has voted for me. They're entrusting me to be responsible for the welfare of their treasure of the community, their children. So every day when I woke up, I would think about the responsibility of students, teachers, and staff because of that moment. On school nights, I would remind myself to hear the message, not the emotion, and then to do what is best for students. I have had so many wonderful memories over the 17 years. Whether you were an instructional assistant, custodian, food service worker, librarian, groundskeeper, bus driver, school and district office staff, what you all had in common is you all were professional and you cared deeply about the students and other adults you supported. I wanted to take a moment to express my appreciation and admiration for the in-classroom and out-of-classroom teachers, such as reading and intervention teachers, speech and language teachers, teachers on special assignment, itinerant teachers, special ed teachers, adaptive PE, and nurses, and professional development. I really hope I'm not missing any group. Each member plays a vital role in the education and support of all of our students. When I visited the school, I saw all of these people working so hard to make sure their students were getting what they needed to flourish. To see students light up and say, I get it, was such a great feeling. All of the Redwood City School District employees made me proud to be a board member because without exception, they all cared. I would like to talk about the people working in the district. They work incredibly long hours, never complaining, with only one goal: do what is best for students, families, teachers, and staff. Dr. Baker has been an amazing superintendent who cares deeply about students, families, teachers, and staff. In the private sector, he would be the CEO, and he is as good as any CEO that I have worked with. I receive emails from Dr. Baker at 4 a.m. many mornings and weekends. He has an impossible job, but he always does it with class. Wendy Kelly, who is the assistant superintendent, I would like to thank you for all of your support. I have learned so much from you. I am considerably wiser after talking with you. You have the unique ability to provide feedback to people that when they do not feedback and change. Linda Montez, who is the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Equity, I would like to thank you for your 100% commitment to our students, teachers, staff, and board. I have so admired how you can keep track of thousands of discrete pieces of data for the local control and accountability plan while doing 30 other things. I also have to give a big shout out to you because my Spanish teacher thought I could never speeches in Spanish and give them in Spanish. And so he's up in heaven saying, what did you have that he didn't have? I am thrilled that you're leading our equity initiative. I know that's very dear to your heart and you'll do a wonderful job. Liz Wolf, who is the Assistant Superintendent Ed Service, you and I have had many conversations over the year. You were instrumental in getting me up to speed with respect to bilingual education. One of my saddest days was when you left, and one of my happiest days was when you came back. You have been fantastic dealing with distance learning, hybrid learning, pilots, and hubs. We could not have done this without you. When you present, you are so calm, and you portray you are so in charge. Priscilla, my finance buddy, you are the Chief Business Officer, and you have been invaluable in keeping us on track. In all of my 17 years, we have been on a financial tightrope with more demand for funds than we have. You make sure we do not spend what we do not have. You are great. You present the financial data very clearly, and you are always calm. And your team is awesome cubed. Now, board members, people have no idea how many hours you work and how much you care for their students and our employees. Part of why I worked so hard was our mission is so critical, and part was I had to make sure I did my fair share of the work. The community is very lucky to have you on the board. Based on my discussions with new board member Mike Wells, I know he will fit right in and will be a valuable member of the board immediately. I know you have all already been helping him. This will be the hardest. To my wife, Lori, thank you for your love and support. No matter what crazy thing I've ever done, you always say, follow your dream. As a former teacher, you were one of my best sounding boards. You always had great advice. To Corey and Casey, thank you for being so supportive of me and to be on the board. Over 17 years, I missed one board meeting, which was excused due to surgery due to school site injury. And this caused my family to have to always plan our vacations from Thursday to Tuesday, or a tight window in July. Many a birthday, I would leave at 6:30 to go to the school board meeting. You all were very supportive. Lori, Corey, Casey, Katie, and sweet precious Ella, I love you all more than life itself. To Kathy Kwan, thank you for all your support over the years. We so appreciate you and Alan. To the parents, thank you for entrusting your children to the Redwood City School District. It has been an honor and a privilege to be on the school board. As you all know, when you volunteer, you get back 1,000-fold what you give. This is absolutely the case. Thank you.
Okay, we can all do the congrats wave. Oh, Dennis, well, thank you so much for those kind words. And I wish we had more time. It's so wonderful that so many people could join us today.
No, it's great. It's really special, all the people that joined. I'm very touched.
All right, so the board members and a few of the staff, we need to hop over to our 7 o'clock board meeting. And the board members still have some things to say. We didn't get them. But thank you to all the participants today. I know it meant a lot to Dennis and Lori.
Yes, thank you.
All right, bye.
Thank
Love
you. Congratulations.
Thank
You'll
you.
be saving the chat, right?
Dennis, for everything.
Thank you. Yeah, they are going to say the chat.
Thank you, Dennis.
Have fun, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis and Lori. Thank you.
Yes.
Keep in touch.